How's it going, guys and girls? Hope you guys are having a great week. So it is that time of the month, guys. It is time to do my next What Do We Know So Far video. This month is going to focus on Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. So this is the latest game by From Software in partnership with Activision, and it's set for release on the 22nd of March, so this Friday. It's going to be available on the Xbox One, PC and PS4, and its development started back in late 2015. Now, this game was revealed at the Game Awards in 2017, and it looks amazing. I am very excited about this game. Now, From Software, of course, are the development studio that brought us the Dark Souls series, as well as Bloodborne, which is an excellent exclusive on the PlayStation 4. But Sekiro Shadows Die Twice is their latest game, and it seems to be taking their Souls formula and updating it and changing it in many ways. Now, one of the first major ways that they're changing it is, rather than being in kind of a fantasy medieval setting or really dark setting, one of the biggest differences with Sekiro Shadows Die Twice is how visually colorful and bright and beautiful the world is, and part of that is because it's going to be set in 16th century Sengoku Japan, which is a period in Japanese history that is characterized by war. It is one of actually my favorite periods in Japanese history, and I'm super excited for this setting. So in the game, you are known as the one-armed wolf, or Sekiro. So Sekiro in Japanese literally means one-armed wolf, and you are basically sworn to protect a young lord. Now, this young lord is special because he's a young descendant of an ancient bloodline known as the Dragon's Heritage. At the beginning of the game, he is actually captured by the Ashina clan, and you, in the ensuing conflict as you're trying to save him, you actually lose your arm, and this is where you actually gain your name, the one-armed wolf. So for the rest of the game, you're basically on a rescue mission to rescue this lord and I guess regain your honor. So your arm is replaced by a prosthetic limb that is developed by a character known as the Sculptor that we meet at the beginning of the game, and this limb gives you access to a number of different tools and abilities that you can use throughout the game. So the setting is really interesting. It's going to blend fantasy elements into a historical setting. So many of the enemies that you actually face in the game are monsters, very similar to like Neo on the PlayStation 4. And we've seen several mythical creatures, including like an ogre, a huge ogre-like creature, and a giant snake, which you have to kind of hide from and you can fight. But yeah, so it looks really sort of amazing. There's some really cool like bosses as well that we've seen as well from some of the gameplay footage. So let's talk a little bit about the gameplay. Now, of course, this is by From Software, so we can expect the combat to be incredibly challenging, and it looks really cool. But there are some new elements to the game that sort of shake it up and change it a little bit. One of those elements is actually in the title, which is called Shadows Die Twice. So one of the things in the Dark Souls series is you die a lot in that game because the combat is so difficult. Well, in Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, you actually have an ability where upon dying you can actually revive yourself and continue on the battle. Now, you can choose when to use this. You can use it to kind of get an edge over the enemy, or if you're very close to beating a boss, you can continue on the fight and hopefully take him out. When you do get revived, you only get revived with half health, and you can't use it all the time. I think you can only use it once in between sort of save points, and I'll explain how that will work later on. Now, if you actually do die, it's not like in the Dark Souls series where you could sort of go to your corpse and retrieve your body if you died. When you die in this game, you are punished for it. So if you die, you will actually lose half of your experience points to the next skill point level, and you lose half of your currency as well, and the more times you die, the more you lose. So it really does give it like an edge to the gameplay that's gonna keep those fights feeling really like on edge and tense and kind of exciting. I quite like it. It sounds really interesting. Now, there is a checkpoint scheme. There are what's called Sculptors Idols dotted throughout the world. These act like the campfires did in the Dark Souls series. So you use these as save points. You can also use them as fast travel points as well. They do unlock fast travel points on the map, and they give you access to the dilapidated temple, which is where you can actually upgrade your skill points and spend your experience points and that kind of thing. Now, why do you have this ability to revive yourself? There have been a few hints that it is kind of tied to the young lord, and it's something to do with the young lord's blood, in that I don't know whether you've got his blood inside you, or if it's some kind of ability which allows him to revive. There are other people in the world that apparently have this ability as well, and I'm kind of interested to discover more about that, because obviously blood it's quite a theme through a lot of the Dark Souls series, but sounds really, really cool. Now, the biggest thing that has me super excited about this game is the combat. The combat looks absolutely amazing. It is a reaction-based combat, and it looks tough as nails. Some new introductions into the series. So for the first time in a From Software game, you can actually jump. This will allow you to do a double jump to reach higher obstacles, and so you can get the drop on enemies. You can also jump back and dodge. You can hang off of ledges, and it's going to shake up the combat quite a lot, as well as the traversal. Now, of course, there are a lot of stealth mechanics within the game. Stealth is quite a large part of the game from the looks of it, to sort of use this as a way to gain a strategic advantage. So there's a lot of enemies in a temple or in an area. You can try and stealth take down some of them so that you've got less chance of being kind of outnumbered or overwhelmed. Definitely there are heavy influences from the Tenchu series, and From Software have confirmed, because obviously they have the rights to the series, they have confirmed that they took a lot of inspiration from Tenchu. There are a lot of stealth elements, from hiding in tall grass to grabbing enemies from around the corner, silently killing them. Takedowns from above, which just look so much fun. Yeah, the stealth elements in this game look incredible. What looks really fun though is your actual Shinobi prosthetic arm, which gives you a lot of options. So of course you have your katana, which is your primary weapon, and you sort of use dodging and timing your strikes with this, but also with your Shinobi prosthetic you can use this in combat as well as traversal as well. You have your grappling hook, which looks just amazing, so much fun. You can use this to grapple up onto tree branches, up onto roofs. You can use it to gain a height advantage in combat, to traverse around the map. The grapple hook just looks really good. You then have a secondary bladed weapon. We've seen different forms in this, but you can actually get a huge axe, which is very slow and very heavy and deals a lot of damage. And then you have different abilities. I think we've seen a flamethrower for sort of controlling things at close combat and keeping enemies away from you. There's a firecracker ability that you have as well for sort of crowd control, and this will stun enemies and allow you maybe to get in a stealth kill or to weaken their posture and take them down. Now, the combat is a little different to previous Dark Souls series. In the previous Dark Souls series, your enemy had a health bar, which they do in Sekiro, but the general purpose was to whittle down the health bar. So sometimes the combat you would be sort of really taking your time and fainting. With Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, it all revolves around trying to break their posture. So yes, they have a health bar which you'll try and reduce down, but they also have a posture bar, which is kind of like a stamina bar to a degree, and by increasing this. It's like a little yellow sort of bar that gradually grows as you sort of attack them and weaken their posture. Once this is filled and goes orange, then you're able to get in a powerful blow, which for weaker enemies is a one-hit kill. For more powerful enemies, it might take off like 1 bar of their health, and you'll keep going it, but it looks really good. You of course also have your own posture bar, so enemies will be trying to weaken your own posture. There will be certain attacks that you can't block or parry, so you'll have to dodge and feint, and it just looks really, really good. You do of course have your own health bar, which is in the bottom left hand corner, and you can use healing items for these, but some of the bosses just look absolutely incredible. We saw this samurai general, which looks really difficult and challenging. He has like 2 health bars, and larger bosses will have even more health, and of course a larger posture bar as well. We got to see a corrupted monk, I think it was, as well, that was just had like supernatural abilities and looked really, really cool. Now, another way in which Sekiro Shadows Die Twice is different to previous From Software games is that it is not an RPG, so there will be no character customization, and you won't be able to customize your gear, your armor, or allocate points into different statistics. Instead, by leveling, you'll basically fill up an experience bar as you make your way throughout the game, and as you fill up your experience bar enough, you will be rewarded with skill points, which you can spend in a skill tree. Now, this skill tree is split into 3 different areas. You have katana skills, prosthetic arm attacks, and also evasive moves. So obviously you'll be trying to, depending on which gameplay style you have, you'll obviously choose what you want to put your focus in. The abilities available in your prosthetic arm as well can actually depend on the items that you find in the environment. So as you progress through the game, you'll discover different abilities, different options, and you will revisit the sculptor, and it will be the sculptor that will install these onto your prosthetic arm for you to get. So obviously, from the sounds of it, you know, whether or not you can miss some of these abilities if you don't explore the world fully, possibly they are missable, and you will have to look for these items in the world, in the environment. Some items as well can actually permanently increase your health and your posture, and depending on which different abilities you have with your prosthetic arm, that could be quite crucial in being successful against enemies. So for example, we've seen these enemies with large wooden shields. If you attack them with your katana, normally it won't do any damage, they will keep blocking it, but if you have the axe equipped on your prosthetic arm, you can actually cleave the shield in 2, which will then weaken that enemy and open them up to attacks, and obviously you know, increase their posture bar so you can get that one-hit kill. So that's really interesting. Now you can actually equip 3 abilities on your prosthetic arm at a time, so I guess you'll have to be quite strategic in terms of which abilities you use, but it just sounds really good. I mean, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice looks incredible. Now I'll be honest with you, I haven't played any of the Dark Souls games. I did play Bloodborne and I really enjoyed it, and I love the look and style of Sekiro. I love the time period. I'm a massive fan of the setting, the location, and the story sounds really interesting as well, and the world. And From Software are always good at world building and environmental design, and it just looks absolutely gorgeous, and the combat looks really interesting. I love the stealth elements. I like the verticality with the grapple hook. The combat looks really fun. This prosthetic arm looks really cool. So I will definitely be playing it. And I can imagine that it's going to be quite a challenge playing the game, but I'm up for that challenge. It sounds really exciting. So that is everything that we know so far about Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. What do you guys think of this game? Are you going to be buying it? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Anyway, hope you guys found this video interesting and informative. If you did, of course, please hit the like button as always to show your support. Please share the video, please comment, and also subscribe for more future content. Anyway, hope you guys are having a great week. Take care, and as always, happy gaming. Bye, guys.